Permiso, buenas tardes. Okay, hello. Okay, hi Kinga, how are you? Hello teachers, welcome to this webinar. This Saturday we have an interesting presentation. Well, teachers, we are going to have a presentation today, so I welcome Kinga. Okay, Kinga is our special guest today in this afternoon. So the topic is related to the sharing content on Zoom. So we are going to have some guidelines or practical tips for student-centered online teaching, okay, which is very interesting. So I have the pleasure to introduce Kinga, who works in Yachay University. And I think that most of us have been seeing, watching in Facebook Live or the transmission, the streaming of the Yachay Language Center. Welcome, Kinga, to this transmission. And we can start now.
Thank you, Andres. Hello, everybody. My name is Kinga. Thank you for having me. And let's start. So today I'm going to share with you some practical tips about sharing content on Zoom in order to have student-centered online teaching. So in March this year, all teachers had to suddenly move all our classes online. Just like millions of teachers around the world, we did our best, but we had to move our classes. In our case, in case of Yachay Tech teachers, we had to move our classes online within a weekend. Yeah. So on Friday, we were still teaching face-to-face, and on Monday, we started teaching online. So at first, it was, in my opinion, it was more of a crisis management than teaching, because we suddenly had to start using Zoom. This is the platform that was chosen by my workplace to give classes. For me and for many of my colleagues, this was a new situation related to new technology. We had new setting for a class, and that all of those things brought new challenges. So when I was thinking about the topic of this webinar, I came up with an idea that I will share with you what I've learned through those 8 months now, yeah, of pandemic. So I will share with you very practical tips about some things that we can do on Zoom. But I want to say that I am not an expert. Yeah, this is something that I've learned from practice. This is something that I've learned because the circumstances made me do it. Yeah, so I want to share with you what I know, but I'm sure there is much more about Zoom that can be explored. So the objectives of this presentation are to help solve common technical issues related to sharing content in Zoom, to promote teaching students about the platform they use, and to learn about different settings available on Zoom in order to boost students' interaction in class. Today I'm going to share with you tips on how to use and control screen sharing, use and control annotation, use and save interactive whiteboard, share content in breakout rooms, and use and save chat. For the purpose of this presentation, I am assuming that you already know some things about Zoom. I am assuming that you know how to create a Zoom account and how to create a meeting, and that you know how to set up and use the breakout room. Okay, I can't talk about breakout rooms a lot today because we don't have time for this today. So that's why I'm assuming all those things. I'm going to share with you different points of view. I'm going to share what you see as a host in your main settings in the browser when you log into Zoom and during a meeting. I will also show you a little bit of what students see as participants, but I will mainly focus on you as a host in Zoom. So my first tip for you is to use and control screen sharing. Do you know what screen sharing is? Can you write in the chat an answer?
Okay, teachers, you can, if you prefer, you can write in the chat box. So if you want to activate your microphone, you can speak. The question is, what is a screen sharing, no?
Do you know what screen sharing is? If you know, write it in the chat, please.
Kinga, the screen sharing is a function, is an option that allows the participant or the host to share different screens in the presentation.
Yes, Raquel is saying that we can share through our screens our documents. Exactly. Yes, you're right. Both of you, Andres and Raquel. So I am screen sharing right now. Yeah. So it's a tool which allows sharing content of your screen on the screens of the participants. So this is what we're doing right now with my presentation. We can share presentations, videos, music, annotations, whiteboards, and other stuff. Why should we use it? We should use it because it allows sharing content in the main session in Zoom and in breakout rooms. Students can share their presentations, ideas, work, and other things. And they can work together on a task through screen sharing. So they can, one student from a group can share the screen, and then they can all focus on that task. And it is student-centered. So I want to explain how to use and control screen sharing. First, we need to make sure that our meeting has screen sharing set up on in your main settings in the browser. Yeah. So when you go to your main settings in Zoom, in your browser after you log in, when you choose the settings, you may see something like that. For some reason, my Zoom settings are partially in English and partially in Spanish. In your case, it may be completely in Spanish or maybe similar to what I have. So we go to settings and we choose basic settings. And when we click on the basic settings, we have that option of screen sharing. And we need to make sure that it's on. Okay, so that's main settings first. And here we can decide who can share if only you can share as a host or everybody can share. It depends. Sometimes you only want to share because you're presenting something to your students, and on other occasions your students will present and they should be able to share the screen, so you would choose all participants. And we can also decide here who can start sharing while another person is already sharing. Yeah. So this setting is in this setting it's good to choose only the host, because for example, if your students start sharing a screen with something inappropriate, then you can start sharing yourself, and that inappropriate content will disappear. You can also choose to allow sharing only certain applications. Yeah. So for example, only PowerPoint. Then when we go into the meeting, so this is what we see normally in a meeting. When you want to screen share, you find the green button. There it is. And you click on it. And when we click on it, we see this window, and we have all the different options. In this case, those windows here are where all the windows that were opened on my computer. Yeah. So these are the basic ones, basic settings, basic options. And I wanted to share that PowerPoint presentation that I use in my classes. If you want to share sound for audios, you can do that. And you can also optimize sharing for videos. And it's very good. It takes the video takes the whole screen, and it's much more effective than just sharing it in a simple way. And then you click share, and this is what you can see. I wanted to share that in that moment, so there is the PowerPoint that I wanted to share. I'm sharing a PowerPoint right now as well. So on this green stripe, on this green bar on the top of your screen, you can see the information that you are sharing, and right now you can see the information that I am screen sharing. Yeah. And when you want to stop sharing, you just click on the red button. There are also advanced options, and here we have music or computer sound only, which is really good when you only want students to listen to something, when you have a listening test, for example. Also, apart from that, there are more advanced settings when you click on this little arrow next to the screen sharing. And here you can again decide who can share and how many people can share at the same time. And you have those advanced sharing options, and they are like this. And they are very similar to what we checked in the browser, in the main settings. You're one participant that can share at a time, or multiple participants. Yes, so when you have that setting on, this is what students will see if they try to share their screens while somebody else is sharing already. Yeah, so it won't allow them to do that. It won't allow them to interrupt screen sharing of somebody else. You can also decide who can share, if it's only you as a host or all participants, and you can decide who can interrupt sharing by other person, yeah? Who can start sharing their screen while someone else is sharing. And I recommend that you choose only the host, because if you have 20, 30 or more students and all of them decide to start sharing at the same time, it's going to be terribly chaotic and it may even collapse your meeting. So we just checked how to set up screen sharing, how to start sharing content, what are the options, and how to stop sharing content. So that was my first tip for you. And here is the second one. I recommend that you use and manage annotation. So annotation is a tool that allows us to write and draw on top of shared content on the screen. Right now in this meeting, we have this option, at least I have it, and probably in other meetings you also have it. You can save the annotation as a document or as a picture, and we should use it because it gives students opportunities to highlight important information, to take notes, to write, draw, doodle, and work together on a task. So if your students know how to share a screen, then they can work in a group. One student share their screen and they can annotate, they can write on that screen, yeah? So for example, they can complete an activity, a gap fill together. When they are done, they can save the annotation as a PDF or PNG. And we, as teachers, we can highlight important information. So if we're reading a text, you can highlight vocabulary or structures or anything else that you need to highlight. We can draw students' attention to specific elements of the content. Just like the students, we can write, highlight, draw, or doodle, and we can also save the annotation as PDF or PNG. So there are many reasons why we should learn how to use annotation in Zoom. So in order to make sure that we have that option, in our main settings, again, in the browser, we need to go to the settings, and then we need to go to basic settings and find annotation and make sure it's on. As a teacher, you may want to click on allow saving of shared screens with annotations, so that if you send your students to breakout rooms, which are like different classrooms from the main one that you normally are, when they work there, they need to show you the evidence. Yeah, they need to show you what they did. So if you allow saving annotation, then they will be able to save it there and then come back and show it to you, yeah, and demonstrate what they did. So once we are in the meeting, we have here a screenshot of a meeting with my colleagues. There is this little icon that says annotate. And when you click on it, this little bar pops out, yeah, this one. And here it is in bigger version. And as you can see, there are many, many different options of things we can do. We can write, we can draw, stamp, we can use a spotlight. There is an eraser, we can change colors and the size of the font. We can save the annotation. So annotation is like, I am sharing something with you right now, and on top of that, you can write, yeah? And then what you wrote on top of what I'm sharing will be saved. So when you click on save, it tells you that the screen is saved and you can see it in the folder. Zoom automatically creates folders in your computer. So it is saved as a screenshot, and you can see here that there is an automatic folder with all the meetings documents. And you can close it with that little X. So How do we manage annotation in the meeting and in the breakout rooms? Because we don't want students to annotate, start drawing or annotating on what we're sharing with them in some moments, yeah? If we have a presentation, for example. So normally, when you are a host of a meeting, you have this little 3 dots and you can click on them and you will see those options. So you can disable participants annotation once you are in a meeting. You say, no, I don't want my students to write anything on my presentation for the next 20 minutes. So you disable that option. And if you have, if you want them to annotate, you can choose to show names of those students, of those participants who are annotating. And here you can see that Hamilton was annotating something. Yeah, he was highlighting. So you will see those little arrows with names of your students when you choose that option. So in summary, now you know how to set up annotation, how to annotate on the screen, and how to save it. And my third tip for you is to use and manage interactive whiteboard. What is the interactive whiteboard? Have you ever used interactive whiteboard in Zoom? Have you ever used Zoom? Okay, I can see some faces are like, Okay. All right. So an interactive whiteboard is another tool from Zoom that works, that allows you and other participants annotate and collaborate on a white screen. So the previous one was annotating on something that is shared, yeah, on shared content. And this one is giving you a whiteboard, white screen, on which you can annotate and collaborate. And it works like a big whiteboard in the classroom when we are in main session. And breakout rooms are like dividing our students into small groups and sending them to other classrooms. Yeah? So you can't see what they are doing unless you actually go to that classroom. The same with breakout rooms. You can use the whiteboard in the main session, and you or your students can use whiteboard in the breakout rooms. Yeah. And then you have to go there to see what they are doing, what they are writing. Why do we need it? Why should we use it? It can be used to provide visual support, just like the whiteboard in the normal classroom in face-to-face setting. We can use it in both main session and breakout room. And it gives space for students to take notes, to draw, and do other things. And it provides space for us. We can explain topics and concepts. We can write something just like we used to when we had students in our classes. It allows pair work and group work, and it is student-centered. So how do we use it? How do we apply this option? First, we need to make sure that it's on in main settings. So like with everything that I said until now, we need to first make sure that it's on in our main settings in the browser. So again, we are in the settings, in the basic ones, and we look for the whiteboard, and in my settings it's right underneath the annotation tool. So we need to make sure that it's on, and we can decide if we want our students to save it or not. my recommendation is to allow them to save it, because when they go and work in that other room, then they need to come back and show you what they did. And when they save their work, they will be able to show you. So how does it look in a meeting or in a breakout room? So again, we need to choose share. In this case, I was already sharing, so I had to choose new share. And when you click on that, you have your basic and advanced options. And one of the basic ones that we didn't talk about yet is whiteboard. And then you click on whiteboard, you click on share, and this white screen shows up. And this white screen has similar bar to the annotation one. Yeah, the same options. So you can write a text, you can draw, you can use stamps, and all those other things. And I wanted to show you an example of saving a text. So I wrote something here, and then I click on save, and it tells you that the whiteboard is saved and you can see it in a folder. So after you click on show in folder, again, it opens the documents. On my computer, Zoom saves all the recordings and all the materials, all the files in documents in automatically established or created folders. So you can see that it's saved as whiteboard right in there. So in summary, now you know how to set up interactive whiteboard, how to open and use it, and how to save it. So my next tip for you is to make sure that you can share content in breakout rooms. The benefits of sharing content are many, and one of them is promoting students' interaction. It is a space to carry out activities. So this is the only moment when they are in breakout rooms. This is the only moment when they can work in pairs or in groups and see each other, listen to each other, yeah, have interaction. Online teaching and online studying might be a very isolating experience. So that's why breakout rooms are really important, in my opinion, for students to have that interaction with other students, yeah, and also with us as teachers. But in language lessons, it's them producing the language more than us producing with them. It allows pair work and group work, and it makes classes more interesting and engaging. And of course, it is student-centered. So how do we make sure that we can share content in breakout rooms? First, we need to teach students how to do all those things that I talked to you about. How to use and save interactive whiteboard, how to share content on their screens, and how to use and save annotation. And we can share all files. We can share all files before opening breakout rooms. We need to do that before we open breakout rooms in Zoom. Otherwise, it's like being in a classroom and telling our students that, okay, you need to go to that classroom, other group has to go to the other classroom. We send them without materials. Yeah. If you share some. Okay. Am I still muted? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Kinga, sorry to.
Yes.
I'm reading a question here from Raquel in the screen.
Aló,
The question
señora.
is, did it function the same when students were in their cell phones? I mean, the function that we're using here in Zoom, no? Is the same availability that we have in functionality in cell phones?
From my experience, students have more problems accessing Zoom meetings from their cell phones. But they can connect from their cell phones and they can join breakout rooms and they can use all those things. And they should be able to use all those options from their cell phones. If you have more questions, then there will be time at the end
Sure.
that I will answer all of them. Okay, so we were talking about sharing content in breakout rooms. We as teachers need to share everything before we send our students to breakout rooms, because they won't be able to see what we have in the main session. Yeah. Again, this is very important. Breakout rooms are like other classrooms. Yeah. And unless you as a teacher go physically to that classroom, you can see what's happening there. The same with breakout rooms. You have to join the breakout room, otherwise you won't be able to see what's happening, and people who are there won't be able to see what is happening in the classroom that you stayed. Yeah. So we need to use Zoom chat to do that, or other communication app like WhatsApp or anything else to send files or links. I wanted to show you how to share a document from your computer. And again, we need to do that before we open breakout rooms. So we are in a meeting and you know how to use chat. There is the icon, and then you have this option, little icon there that says file. So if you want to share a file from your computer, you click on that little icon, and I can see Doris is trying out the annotation. And it will automatically open a window with the content of your computer. And this is a bigger version. You click on file and it automatically opens the content of your computer. I wanted to choose present perfect form mixed exercise 1. And I clicked on it and it automatically uploaded in our chat. And there it is. Yeah. And what students see is they see the document in the chat, they click on download, and they can, it automatically opens the window in their computer, and they can save that document. Yeah, so everything is really straightforward. They can directly save it. There we go, and there we go. So how do we share a link? Again, before we open breakout rooms, in chat, we need to either type it or paste it. And there was a link from YouTube that I wanted to share. I copied it and pasted it. And when you click enter, it's there. This is very straightforward, very simple. There we go, in a bigger version. So in summary, we know now that we need to share activities before opening breakout rooms. We know how to share a file from our computers and how to share a link. And my last tip for you is related to chat, to using chat and saving it. The benefits are that it's another way to promote target language production. It allows ongoing assessment. So for example, if you're teaching grammar, yeah, and you're not sure, or you want to check, did my students understand? Do they have it clear? You can ask them, oh, can you write a sentence in the chat using, I don't know, past perfect? And your students will think for a moment, and then they will write a sentence in the chat, and you will be able to see what mistakes they make. Did they understand what's missing, what you need to focus on. And it's a great source of student-produced language, and it really helps with delayed error correction. What I've been doing was, once I have some sentences from my students, especially when we are learning grammar, then I go back to the saved chat after class. I choose some sentences that are correct, some that are incorrect, and I create a slide with 5, 6, 10 sentences. And then in class, I show them those sentences, and they work in pairs or in groups and decide which sentence is correct, which is incorrect, how to correct it, and then we check it all together. And it really, really helps to upgrade their language, to correct their mistakes. You can use chat individually and in groups, and it's an alternative to speaking production and oral feedback in class. Everything takes longer in online classes, so using chat is really, really helpful. And of course, it's student-centered. So how do we save chat? We need to make sure that it is on in main settings, that we have that option on. So again, we need to go to our main settings in the browser, and we need to choose the basic ones. And I think the second one, yes, so this is where the basic one starts. And the second option is chat. So we allow participants to have chat, to use chat. And so we turn it on. And we can decide if we want to have private chat or not. Okay. So it's very good in a sense that if a student has a problem, they can send you a message that is only for you, and nobody else will see it. But it also means that they can chat privately between themselves, among themselves, and you won't be able to see that. And my recommendation is to allow automatic saving of the chat, because then you will be able to use it. And one important thing is that if you choose this option will automatically go off. So you can either allow everybody to save chat, or you prohibit everybody from saving the chat. And when we are in the main session or in breakout rooms, here we have those little 3 dots in chat. And when we click on them, we can decide as hosts who can participants chat with. There is an option for no one, so no chat at all, only with you, everyone publicly, or everyone publicly and privately. And this is the one that I'm using with my students. And right above it, you have the option to save chat. And when you click on it, automatically this green bar shows, it tells you that it's saved and that you can see it in the folder. So it saves as text document, but it's not Word, it's the notepad, I think, or notebook, yeah, notepad. So there we go. It saves automatically in the folder that Zoom creates on your computer. And when you open it, this is how it looks. So you can see what time somebody said something, who said it, and what was said. I can see that we have less than 1 minute. I am almost done. All right. So I was just telling you that when we save the chat and when we open the document with the saved chat, this is what we can see. We can see what time somebody said something, who said it, and what was said. So you can use that option, especially when students have problems with connection. Sometimes it's not possible to turn the camera on. Sometimes students have problems with their microphones. So when they are in breakout rooms or when they are working in groups, they can chat with other participants, and then you can see, yeah, they can save their chat, and then you can see that, yes, I worked. It wasn't just that I am there and silence and I'm missing the class. Yeah. Okay. If you are recording the meeting, the chat will be saved automatically. And here you have an example. I record all my classes, and these are all the documents that automatically save, and it includes chat. So in summary, you can control the chat options, you can save the chat, and that's it. So thank you very much. I know that it's a lot of information about Zoom, and I know it's all very specific, very practical, very technical, but I'm sure that you can watch this presentation because Andres is recording it, and go step by step, practice. Yeah? And this is my final recommendation. Create a Zoom account and practice so that when you have to start teaching using that platform, you will already know how to do it and how to use all those tools. And I wish you good luck with your teaching. And it doesn't matter if you're teaching on Zoom or on any other platform. Online teaching is very challenging, especially if it's new for you. It's new for me as well. These are the references that I used to create this presentation. I really recommend that website. Russell Stannard has an amazing website with tutoring videos about Zoom, Moodle, and all the other platforms and all the other things related to online teaching. And of course, the blog and help center from Zoom helps a lot. And these are my email addresses if you want to contact me, my institutional one and my personal one. Thank you very much for having me and for listening to this presentation. I will answer any questions now.
Okay, so teachers, in this part of the webinar, it's your turn. You can ask questions. Okay, in the chat I can read, or Kinga can read it too, or you can also participate actively. Okay. Well, Kinga, I think that as a reflection that I think that almost everybody here we use Zoom. No, I think that in the Ministry of Education there are other platforms that teachers have to work. I think Teams, another one, Google Meet. I think this is the first that those platforms that we have already worked on it. But Zoom, I think, is one of the most popular. No, that's what I said. No?
Yes, and the free account is free. So if you have short classes or you just reconnect, then you can use all those options, all those tools that I talked about in a free account as well.
Okay, just one question, Kinga. During your intervention, when you explained about the different functions, how it works, which is very important, you give very brief details with this platform. When you use the premium version of this platform, what other functions apart from breakout rooms you can also do with Zoom, for example?
Okay, so you can do all those things that I showed you today. You can do in both, in the basic account and in the pro account. In the basic account, you can have one-to-one or one-to-two meetings that are unlimited in time. More than 3, I think, more than like the host plus 3 or more people, the time is reduced to 40 minutes. What we can do in Pro account is it's unlimited time for any meeting. Yeah, it doesn't matter how, it doesn't matter how many participants you have. You can, when you use the basic account, you can record your meeting only on your computer, I think. And with the Pro one, you can choose between recording on your computer or on the cloud. Of course, the security is different in the basic account and in the Pro account. And in Pro, you can also go live on Facebook, YouTube, and something else. And you can choose another host. So you can have alternative hosts, like 2 or 3 people. And I don't think that is an option in the basic one. Yeah, so those would be the main differences between the basic and the Pro account.
Okay, Kinga, thank you so much for your clarification from these questions. Let me read one comment that I'm here. This is from Cynthia Habit. You can use polls in a Pro account. I don't know if it is a question or she's commenting about it.
Okay, if it's a question, then yes, Cynthia, you can. You also have to set it up first in the browser for that option to appear when you are in the meeting. And then once you are in the meeting, you can use polls. I used polls last semester with my students. I don't use them much, but yeah, they are very, very helpful if you want to decide on something or maybe use it as an activity.
Okay, so teachers, another question that you would like to ask? Okay, Kinga, so I think that it's very clear. No, what I told you is that most of the teachers we have been using this platform. No, even now in this moment we are working with this Zoom platform. No, I remember from the first time we occasionally have some problems because of the transition when you have to use from the function of sharing a screen, and when you didn't keep in mind that you have to select the screen first, that you have to present.
Yes,
but that's okay. You were expertising with this use of platforms.
Okay, I'm glad. I'm glad that you invited me. And of course, if you're using Zoom, then I hope that you already knew most of those things, and there were just little things that might help you in the future with your classes.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Kinga, for your contribution. I admire your presentation because that's very important that you have contributed with us, and also I welcome to new teachers that are they came to this transmission. Okay, so I hope to see you next time this next Saturday. So Kinga, I will invite you for the next presentation. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a good afternoon or evening.
Have a good evening, everybody. Teachers, see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.